You see me unboxing the product, but in reality, actually, I just packed it up a little too early, and I thought about it, and actually, it's so frustrating that I'm gonna make a video about it. So just bear with me while I set up, because I have to unbox this. I have to set up this gimbal so I can tell you what exactly has happened. So quickly, I'm gonna run you through what's happening over here because I've literally got minutes before DHL comes to pick this up, and they're gonna take it to Germany where hopefully DJI will have a look at it, because I got two issues. Now, first of all, I'm running a Fujifilm setup, and I'm gonna tell you why I chose that and why I chose the RS3 Mini with it. I mean, this was announced, I think, late 2022, and I started my photography journey the summer after, so summer 2023. And this seemed like the obvious choice. It can take up to 2 kilos, it's fairly portable, you can close it up, take 2 of the arms off, quickly switch between landscape and portrait. There's a myriad of reasons why this is a good device, except there's 2 issues, and one of them is an issue with DJI, the other one is an issue with DJI and Fujifilm working together. So let me tell you about the first one. I run an X-H2s, and currently you see a bit of a setup here with the Viltrox DC550 Pro. Brilliant monitor, I can only recommend it. So I can then record what you're seeing on here. And this works together with the Fujifilm via USB-C cable that's included. It even says what mode you need to put it into, and it was working perfectly, which meant that I could use the joystick to move things around, that I can use all the gimbal controls, but I can also use the shutter button to reacquire focus halfway and start and stop recording. Since middle of April, since Fujifilm rolled out this version 6.0 that everybody kept talking about. If you don't know where it is, what it is, just search it. There's plenty of videos about it. But one of the things that it caused for me was actually an issue with this gimbal. And it meant that I could no longer connect the two. And I'll show you what happens, because ever since we haven't had a solution. There's no fix to it. And I don't think they will fix it, because DJI's got a new line that they're focusing on, and Fujifilm, really, they have bigger fish to currently, well, fix. So yeah, just so you understand, I'm running an HDMI cable here, which isn't part of the setup, but yeah, I've even got this small rig arm, which is brilliant. It connects to the NATO clamp here on the left-hand side of the gimbal, which helps you with all your movements and stability. It's a really good setup otherwise. And then the second issue I'll tell you in a second, but let me just demonstrate this first one. So I've got the screen recording going. So hopefully you'll be able to see, well, you're staring at the curtain right now, but you can see that my camera is active. I can move the focus point around. Unfortunately, I have to use, because I'm using a Fujifilm, I have to use this zone focus, and this is the largest box that you can get. Frustrating. But this is supposed to be in a setting, there it is. So it's supposed to be in tether shooting auto, okay? And then all I have to do is connect from the RSS port at the front of the gimbal into the USB-C port. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Doesn't say anything on the gimbal. It's supposed to say that it's connected. It doesn't do anything. So I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna try and press record. Nothing happens. There's zero connection between the two. To give it context, the RS3 Mini hasn't had a firmware update since February 2023. Working perfectly fine. I've used it with Sony cameras, and you don't even need to connect a cable. Just do it through the Bluetooth shutter, which you can program to a million things on Sony. So not even just start and stop recording. So because there's no connection between these two, there's multiple problems. First of all, if I start recording now, this is in movie mode, okay? There you go. Stops recording after 1 second. Now, if you do this a few times, which of course you're going to be doing in the beginning because you're like, why isn't my gimbal working? It will cause your camera to freeze up to the point where you have to remove the battery. I'm not going to do that now. But let me tell you everything. I tried everything under the sun. I tried manual setting up of connections. I tried different cables, different third-party cables and DJI cables. I tried even getting a USB-C to 2.5 millimeter because I have a remote port here. doesn't work. I tried everything. I spoke to Fujifilm, they took it up and they tested it and they say it works, doesn't work. There are multiple people here confirming it's never going to work. And then they tried again and they said, oh yeah, you're right. It was an old firmware version. It doesn't work. DJI doesn't have any support for this because they say we haven't updated our firmware and every other camera works fine. So hey, it's not on us. But in reality, they can't fix it without working together. So the issue with this is even if it does start recording, you will lose all control of your camera, which means you cannot reacquire focus. So wherever your focus point is on the screen, that's it. It's stuck there. And so if your subject moves out of the way, it's gone. You will actually not have any display info on your screen. I'm not going to simulate now because I've literally got minutes before they pick it up. But I just wanted to tell you about this issue. This is the first issue. The second issue I have is, and I'm going to put some B-roll up here. The second issue I have is that because I had to constantly, and obviously I have to use this without the USB-C cable, so I might as well just disconnect it. I constantly have to touch the camera. Even if I remap the shutter button to something else, I constantly have to touch the camera, which put even more strain on the roll axis, which was already starting to fail in this one. And it got to a point where you'll see footage on the screen. I'm just beyond frustrated because it constantly tilts and it loses balance and I can't hold it anymore. And this is 1.4 kilos. I just weighed this. 1.4 kilos. This can take up to 2 kilos. So we're 30% under the weight that DJI claims this can hold. So this is not an issue with weight and this is not an issue with the balance because I've just quickly balanced this to near perfect. I literally had 1 minute to do it. But it should be okay. This is a balanced setup and it was working. So it was both physically working before, but the axis motor has started to fail. And then Fujifilm rolled out this firmware and now I cannot use it anymore. Only if I manually start and stop recording, which let me tell you, over the past month, I've had 300-400 short videos to record for different paid projects. And obviously each time I have to tilt the camera a little bit and put more strain on that axis motor. So yeah, this is going back because it's got 10 days left on its warranty and thankfully DJI is covering the shipping and hopefully they'll have some sort of fix or they'll swap the motor. But it's just beyond frustrating to see two huge companies not working together. And then obviously the RS3 Mini, I can't really recommend it, I'll be honest with you. I would have been better off just getting the standard RS3 with a case and whatever and just carry that case separately because I wanted something that I can put in my camera bags. And yes, but you do have to disassemble this. So yeah, just a little heads up, this video is already getting way too long and I gotta pack this up because the courier is here any minute now. So yep, just beware if you are using a Fujifilm camera, do not pick up the RS3 Mini. And one more thing, hang on. I'll put this on the screen in a second, but I've just checked. They've updated the compatibility with RS4 and RS4 Pro when it comes to the X-H2s, which is Fujifilm's current flagship camera. It's not an old camera in any way. But yeah, they've updated it, and they do say on-camera controls will not be available. So the issues that I've noticed since that firmware, DJI knows about because they say, oh, you will not be able to stop recording, only manual. You will not be able to have on-screen controls unless you disconnect the camera and the gimbal, which just doesn't make sense. At this point, just say it's not compatible. But obviously, they don't want to lose, a few customers here and there. So yeah, that's just a quick rant. I apologize I had to do this, and I hope that maybe somebody from DJI or Fujifilm sees this and gets in touch because I've got no resolution for this. And Fujifilm closed the support case that they opened for me, despite the fact that I replied and said this is not a solution, that there is no solution. So please, can you, get in touch? Let's work something out. So, okay, quick rant over, and I'll see you in the next one.